Hello again. I am so happy that I have heard from so many of you telling me how much you enjoy my little stories, which that's just adorable. I love that, and I really appreciate the feedback. So today's story is called Kein Life, and Kein means no, and when I was very small, I could not say the word for Fleisch, which is the German word for meat, and I would say Kein Life. This was very confusing to both my mother and my French grandmother because my French grandmother's house was destroyed first, so she spent a lot of time with us. And when I was a baby, I refused to eat meat. They couldn't figure out what was going on, but apparently they would feed me. Between the two of them, I would eat so much and so fast that they both had a spoon. Rice, potatoes, vegetables, any fruit under the moon, especially, grated carrots. Oh my God. When they would try to feed me meat, I would spit it out. And my mother said it was unbelievable how such a small little kid could throw something that far. So they finally gave up. They said, well, hey, we don't understand this. We don't know what's going on, but she refuses to eat meat, and we're fine with that. Okay, so now I'm going to school, first grade. And my teacher said, here's a letter, you need to give it to your father. And this Friday, we expect him to come to the school. So when I got home and my dad came home, I said, look, Papa, they want you to come to school. So here's the letter. So he opened it and he read it and he said, oh yeah, he said, I wonder what's going on. So Friday, when school is over, you need to stay there because I will come from work and I will be there a little bit after 2 o'clock. Okay, great. So my father came and we went to the principal's office, and my teacher plus one of the principals, they were in the office, and they introduced themselves to my dad because they had not met him before. And, they said, come on in, sit down. And I'm thinking, wow, I wonder what's going on. This is sort of weird. So my teacher starts off by saying, well, Mr. Freeman. And I said, ooh, that voice doesn't sound real good. I wonder what I did. And she said, well, I'm assuming you're her father, or are you not? And I thought, well, that's really weird. What is going on? And she said, well, so are you or are you not her father? And my father said, well, of course, that's my daughter. Well, we're going to have a talk about her because she's horrible. She is obstinate. She interrupts things. And I'm thinking, what is she talking about? I never interrupt anything. I sit by the window and I try to feed the birds. So, because I don't really like her a whole lot. She never has anything fun to say. I have a lot more fun looking out the window. So my dad said, well, I don't understand what you're talking about. And she said, well, since we have food for the children from the Americans, I think it's called the Marshall Plan or something like that, the children are expected to eat the food. But what does she do? She sits there, and every little piece of meat, it's usually like a stew or a soup, she moves it all out. And then she puts it on the side. So now all the other children, they're watching her and they want to know what's going on. And I don't like that. She is such a disturbance. There's just something really wrong with her. And I could tell my father, I could just sort of feel him like, oh my God, is he gonna punch her? I could just tell him really getting angry. And he said, well, he was very calm, but I could tell he was really, really upset. He said, obviously you don't like my little girl. You don't have to like the children that you teach, but I'm wondering, why are you a teacher? You obviously don't like children. How could you not like her? And he said, oh, wait a minute. Let me tell you why you don't like her. Because she is not going to do everything that you think she ought to do. She follows the rules. I know her. I know my little girl. But you can tell this is a very special little child. And this somehow is totally against your grain. You want her to just blindly follow something. Well, guess what? She might only be 6, but no. She is not like that. She has her own little mind. She has her own little ideas. This teacher said, look, you're just getting off the track here. I'm telling you that you need to make her eat the food. And my father just burst out laughing, and he said, are you kidding? What do you mean, make her? Of course not. She is a little individual. She knows what she likes. I taught her to listen to her heart. That's what she's doing. I don't know why she won't eat meat. My wife doesn't know. My mother doesn't know. But, you know, what do you want us to do? The teacher looked at my dad and she said, well, you have a cellar, don't you? And my father said, yeah, what does that have to do with anything? Well, you should lock her in the cellar. Make sure there's no light on. Leave her down there, maybe for a day, I don't care, 2 days. And then bring her back out and make her eat that meat. And my father just shook his head and he said, did you just really say that? That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. You're a teacher. You're supposed to help these little entities develop into adults. They have their own ideas. They have their own way of dealing with life. And there's no way I would ever do that to her. And she said, well, apparently with her, she's so obstinate. That is what's necessary to get her to do what she needs to do. My father just kept shaking his head and he said, I can't believe you're telling me that. Why did you become a teacher? You obviously you don't even like children. You have no idea what she's like. She cleans our little house. When she's in the streetcar with my wife and an old lady comes in, she gets up and she says, oh, please, here, sit down. This is an incredibly sweet little girl. And one of our neighbors has a big dog that has to wear a mouth guard because he has bitten everybody. He got out of the house the other day. He didn't have his guard on. My little girl walked up to that dog. Somebody saw it, and they were all yelling and screaming. The dog came over. He put his head on her shoulder. She hugged him and took the dog where he lives because she knew where the dog goes. This dog now was not put to sleep. They were going to have it put to sleep because he was biting everybody. The only person he never bit is here, this little girl. And you want me to change her? Of course not. I will not do that. And I wish we had the money that we could take her out of your class and put her in Switzerland in a private school. But unfortunately, we cannot do that. And no, I will not make her eat meat. He said, I don't even know what to say to you because it's so ridiculous. You're going to have to deal with how she is. I'm not going to make her do anything. And he said, and if there's nothing else, I think it's time for us to go. And he grabbed my hand and we got up and we walked out. And oh God, I felt so close to my dad. When we got outside, he hugged me and he said, you know what? You just be the way you always are. And if they're real mean to you, just turn the other way. Just do what you think is right. And I'm very, very proud of you. And if some of the kids are ever really mean to you, especially that boy that you keep telling me about, remember what I taught you? And I said, yes, Papa, I know. And he said, okay, show me. You said to me, this one under the chin and this one on the nose. And he just looked at me, kissed me on my head, and he said, yeah, you're my little girl. I love you. That's my story for today. Merry Christmas. See you soon.